Okay, welcome back, you guys. In this video, we're going to set the camera up so we can shoot some slow motion video. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to head into the menu system and just make sure you are set in video mode so that you do have access to this stuff in the menu. But we're going to get out of 24 and we're going to flip it now over to 60 frames per second. One thing I would note is if you don't have 60, every camera is going to be different depending on what you have, but you may only have 30 frames per second. And you can get some really nice slow motion with 30. It's just not quite as intense of a slow motion. So if you have 30, that will work for you. But in this example, we're going to go 60 because I have it. Notice I do have 120 frames per second, which would be super slow-mo, so that's always a really cool option too. But for the example of this video, I'm going to go with 60. And I'm going to make sure I'm in 10-bit, my highest bit rate. I'm going to also go back and verify that I am in my favorite 4K setting, and we are, so we can come out of that. Now, just remember, now that we're dealing with our frame rates, if we're in 60 frames per second, we have to make that shutter speed double the frame rate. So what's double 60? Well, it's 120. So if we scroll this thing higher to 120, we don't actually have 120 on here, but we go to the closest one, which is 125. So we'll leave our shutter speed at 125, and that follows our 180-degree rule. So our slow motion later when we slow it down is going to look as it should. It's going to be smooth and buttery and awesome. And then just remember that our shutter speed is locked to that frame rate. So again, you're only going to have access to your ISO and your f-stop for exposing our footage. So you can't move your shutter. Your shutter has to stay locked at 125 for this example. Great. Now that our camera is all set for slow motion, let's take a look at a few examples of what this actually looks like. So the first example is going to be 60 frames per second, not slowed down. And as you can see, it looks very fast. It's a faster frame rate. It could be a little bit jittery too from the motion of your hands, or maybe you're on a gimbal or maybe a tripod that's panning. So depends on what you're shooting, but it's going to look a lot faster. But what we're going to do is we're going to take this footage into an editing software and we're going to slow it down. The idea is that you want to slow this footage down in post afterwards, and that's how you get your smooth slow motion. So let's take a look at that example next. So this is 60 frames per second slowed down. Great. So I hope that was helpful and that you can start setting your camera up to shoot video and some slow motion video when you're ready for that. And we will see you in the next video.